Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to explore an important topic: 7 signs you may be with the wrong person. This presentation will help you identify if your relationship might need some reevaluation. We'll cover key signs to watch out for and offer some insights to guide you. So, let's dive in and get started. In every relationship, doubts are actually quite common. It's completely natural to wonder if the person you've chosen to share your life with is truly the right fit for you. However, it's important to distinguish between occasional doubts and more persistent warning signs that might point to deeper issues. Psychological research and real-life experience both show us that there are certain indicators that can help us step back and evaluate our relationships more objectively. Today, I'll be sharing 7 signs that may suggest you're with the wrong person. We'll explore each one in detail, understanding why they matter and how they can inform your decision-making process. Remember, recognizing these signs can ultimately lead to healthier choices and better relationships. When we talk about being constantly unhappy in a relationship, it's a clear sign that something's off. A healthy relationship should feel like a source of joy, comfort, and companionship. It's where you feel safe and supported. But if you find that unhappiness is the normal state, not just after arguments, but even during everyday moments or dates, that's a big red flag. It indicates a deeper misalignment between you and your partner. When negativity becomes the baseline, it's not just fleeting, it's draining your emotional energy. Instead of nourishing your connection, it starts to chip away at it. Over time, this persistent unhappiness can lead to resentment, a loss of intimacy, and even feelings of depression. Remember, love should add value to your life, bring happiness and growth, not diminish your well-being. Recognizing this pattern is crucial because it often signals that the relationship needs attention or reevaluation. So, when we talk about relationships, it's important to recognize that some stress is completely normal. Misunderstandings, responsibilities, and adjustments are just part of life together. But the key point here is what happens when that stress becomes overwhelming. If your relationship consistently tips the scale toward anxiety, worry, or emotional tension, that's a red flag. It means that instead of feeling safe and supported, you might be feeling more pressured. Research in relationship psychology actually shows that long-term stress can really take a toll. It erodes trust and intimacy, which are the foundation of any healthy relationship. When stress is chronic, it can leave one or both partners in a state of hypervigilance, constantly on edge, always watching for the next problem. Instead of being a sanctuary, a safe haven, the relationship can start feeling like another source of pressure and tension. Recognizing this pattern is crucial because it helps us understand why managing stress and emotional health is so important for maintaining a healthy, connected relationship. Let's talk about a common challenge many of us face in relationships. When we first start out, we often have ideals and expectations, things we'd like to see in our partner and our relationship. Over time, we tend to adjust our views as reality sets in. But there's a point where healthy compromise becomes difficult. If your partner consistently falls short of your core expectations, things like respect, loyalty, affection, or shared goals, that's a sign you might be ignoring deeper incompatibilities. These are the kinds of issues that usually won't just go away with time. Research on marital dysfunction shows that successful couples do accept minor flaws, but they don't compromise on their essential values. So, if you find yourself constantly lowering your standards, it might be a sign that you're already aware of some fundamental mismatches. Recognizing this is important because it helps us understand when it's time to reflect on what we truly need in a relationship. When we're in the early stages of romance, it's common to overlook some obvious warning signs. This is often due to what's called the honeymoon effect, where everything feels perfect and exciting. Psychology refers to this as selective blindness. Our brains tend to highlight the positive traits in our partner while downplaying or ignoring the negatives. This can lead us to overlook red flags that, if noticed clearly, might give us a better understanding of the relationship's true nature. But here's the thing. Once the infatuation starts to fade, those early concerns tend to come back with even more clarity and strength. If you find yourself now noticing traits like dishonesty, irresponsibility, or selfishness, traits you might have seen before but chose to ignore. Your initial instinct was probably right. These warning signs don't just disappear. Instead, they often become more apparent once the honeymoon phase ends. And that's a crucial point. Long-term compatibility cannot survive if we deny or ignore these issues. Recognizing these early warning signs is essential for making healthier, more informed decisions about our relationships. Sometimes, our gut feelings can tell us that something isn't quite right in a relationship. Human intuition is incredibly powerful, more than we often realize. Now, while logic and reason are vital tools, many relationship issues are actually first noticed at a subconscious level. That uneasy, persistent feeling you get, without a clear reason, can be your mind's way of picking up on subtle cues. It might be the tone of someone's voice, their body language, or emotional disconnection that your subconscious has already registered. Psychological research supports this idea, showing that our subconscious often detects threats or mismatches before our conscious mind can even name them. So, if your inner voice keeps whispering that something feels off, it's important not to ignore or silence that feeling. It's often a sign that your instincts are alerting you to something that needs your attention. Trusting that inner voice can be crucial in understanding when a relationship isn't aligning well. So let's talk about a really interesting finding from a 2004 study published in the Journal of Family Psychology. It showed that certain personality traits can actually predict how satisfied people are in their relationships. One of the most problematic traits is low conscientiousness. Now, this includes qualities like laziness, unreliability, and a lack of responsibility. When someone scores low in conscientiousness, they might not follow through on commitments or take care of practical matters, which can create real issues. Other traits that tend to be linked with relationship dissatisfaction are high neuroticism, which is basically emotional instability, and low agreeableness, meaning stubbornness and a lack of empathy. While people can grow and change over time, being with someone who isn't willing to take responsibility for themselves often means you're left carrying the emotional and practical load. And over time, this imbalance can really erode the respect and attraction in the relationship. It's a reminder that personal responsibility and conscientiousness are key for maintaining a healthy, balanced partnership. So let's talk about the idea that being too similar might not always be a good thing in relationships. Contrary to what some might think, having very alike personalities doesn't automatically guarantee harmony. In fact, a study from 2007 showed that couples with strong similarities, especially in traits like extroversion, often end up feeling dissatisfied over time. Why is that? Well, because similarity can actually highlight or amplify weaknesses instead of balancing them out. For example, if both partners tend to be avoidant, they might struggle to resolve conflicts because neither wants to face difficult conversations. Or, if both are impulsive, they could end up creating chaos together without much thought. That's where diversity in temperament really shines. It provides a natural balance. When one person's strengths support the other's vulnerabilities, it creates a more harmonious and resilient partnership. So, in the context of building strong, lasting relationships, understanding that a healthy mix of differences often works better than perfect similarity is key. It's about finding that balance where differences complement each other rather than clash. So, here we are at the final slide, and I want to emphasize that making the decision to stay or leave is ultimately a very personal one. While these 7 signs can give us valuable clarity, only you can truly decide whether you're with the right person. Remember, relationships are deeply personal, and the context around your unique situation matters a lot. That said, it's important not to ignore persistent unhappiness, unresolved tension, or that inner dissonance you might feel. Ignoring these signs only tends to prolong the inevitable and can lead to greater pain down the line. Sometimes, the most courageous thing you can do is to step back, take a moment to reflect, and choose a path that genuinely supports your emotional well-being. Ultimately, a healthy relationship shouldn't just be about surviving, it should help you thrive. If you find yourself constantly questioning whether you're with the right person, that act of questioning might already be your answer. It's about listening to that inner voice and honoring what it tells you.